In today's video we will focus on checklist configuration. Checklist configuration can be found in the admin panel in the System section. The checklist configuration view contains a few options. The search option allows for a quick search for a particular item. The filter option allows to filter items list by type. As an example, we can search for sales items that are attached to every trip. The light blue color of the filter indicates that the filters have been applied. Next, we have an option to include or exclude sales checklist statuses into overall trip status. And then we have a sections order option, which allows you to change the order of the appearance of ops checklist sections. In order to set custom order, we have to click on Sections Order and set it by using the drag and drop function. Once completed, the changes need to be saved. Global Rules is an option that allows you to define the time thresholds in minutes, when Leon should not reset the item's status. For example, if the scheduled part of departure and arrival is changed by less than 15 minutes, Leon will not change its statuses. The lower section of checklist configuration contains a table divided into columns. The label column shows the checklist item name. In the description column, it is possible to add checklist item descriptions. Once added, the description will appear by the item in the checklist. The checklist section column shows the name of the subsection of the checklist where an item is placed. The Attached to column indicates whether an item is attached to a single flight or the entire trip. The Sales Ops column indicates whether it is an Ops or Sales checklist item. In the Visible on Crew app column, we can indicate which item should be available to crew in the mobile app. If Auto Add to Leg is ticked, the item will be automatically added if the CQL condition is met. CQL stands for Checklist Query Language, and it is used for defining conditions that determine whether a particular checklist item is to be applied. The CQL column shows the current state of the conditions for adding the items to the checklist. There are three possible statuses: Disabled, Default and Custom. Disabled means that the item will not be automatically added to the checklist. Default means that the item is enabled, and the default condition for adding the item to the checklist is set. Custom means that the item is enabled, and the custom condition for adding the item to the checklist is set. In order to edit CQL conditions, you have to click the field in the column. In the Edit CQL pop-up window, you can edit the condition. In this particular case, the item will appear for every international flight, with the destination being the United States. You can set the default condition and check the documentation for the CQL syntax. In the Due Date section, it is possible to define due dates for the checklist item statuses. In order to configure due dates, you have to click on the gear icon corresponding to a checklist item. The Due Dates pop-up window is divided into three tabs: Default, where you can insert default time offset value in hours; Country, where you can insert threshold based on the country; and Airport, where you can insert threshold based on the airport. In our example, we will use a country-based threshold. We will see the CBP item due date for the destination airport in the United States. Requested offset indicated how many hours before the flight date and status should be requested. In our case, 24 hours before the flight, while confirmation offset indicates how many hours before the flight the item status should be confirmed. 12 hours in our case. Now we can apply changes. Once they have been applied, the gear icon turns blue, and the clock icon becomes available in the Ops module. It is located in the top bar next to the message center. In the Due Dates pop-up window, we have an option to search for a specific checklist item. In our case, CBP. Below we can find any item that requires action along with its status, flight details, and the request and confirmation due dates. Once the item is confirmed, it is removed from the Due Dates pop-up window. In the Status Reset Rules column, it is possible to configure which changes will trigger selected checklist item's status reset to ? status. Items' start time and end time become editable when clicked. It is possible to define the number of minutes when Leon should not change item status. When 10 minutes is inserted in the start time item, if the scheduled time of departure of the flight changes by less than 10 minutes, Leon will not change the item status. In the Links column, we can add multiple URL links. After saving, they will be visible and active in the Ops module, in the Checklist section.